you at halftime. It should be a fascinating night. We are delighted to have Mike Breen back behind the microphone to lead our coverage tonight as Game 3 of the NBA Finals on ABC starts right now.
Reflex back.
There's nothing like playing at home. It's my favorite place to play.
The crowd wants to get at these guys and hug them.
But I'm so real to them it's scary. And with my unique skills, nah, you can't compare me.
We put ourselves right back in a position to take control of the series now.
Oh yes, I'm greater than all MCs. When I breathe, give me room, please. I be like fascinating when I be updating.
You have to be able to block the noise out because the noise is going to be there.
Lyrically deaf and connecting, complete mic record. Word is born, I go on and on.
You have to send a message.
I got magic like wands.
If I'm not sending a message, then who's sending that message?
Those who kick dirt in due time, I'm gonna catch them. Check 1, 2, and you don't stop.
That's what the people of Boston remember, the guys that win championship. Knowing that we're at home, but that we need to play better. You want to hold up that trophy.
A brand new era for the Boston Celtics.
What a display of basketball.
It's the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, presented by YouTube TV. The Warriors played like champions in Game 2 at home. Another dominant third quarter. That was the difference as they tied this series at 1 game apiece. The Boston Celtics back home again after gaining that split in San Francisco. Can they bounce back once again after a rough performance in Game 2? And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Game 3 of the NBA Finals with Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy, Mike Breen on hand, Lisa Salters with us as well, and a special shout out to our colleague Mark Jones, who did an incredible job in Games 1 and 2. Now we move on to Game 3 and start with the Warriors, Mark. They were embarrassed in that fourth quarter in Game 1, and they responded with a familiar formula, and that's Steph Curry magic and some suffocating defense.
This team hasn't been there, done that attitude. They don't get rattled. They're cool, calm, and collective, and they set a tone no matter whether they blow a team out or they themselves get blown out. They respond and react, and it's their leader, Steph Curry. Look at the numbers. Most points in the finals, games 1 or 2, age 34 older. Look at the company. MJ, Jordan, LeBron, and Steph Curry finds a way to impact the game and set the tone. But make no mistake about it, Game 2 was won because of the defensive intensity set by Draymond Green. In Game 1, they got drilled. The Celtics dictated whatever they wanted to dictate on the offensive end, but in Game 2, a difference maker led by Draymond Green.
Meanwhile, Jeff, for Boston, they've been one of the great bounce-back teams we've seen in recent memory. In these playoffs, 6-0 after a loss. Our question tonight for our Domino's pregame HQ, how do they keep that streak alive tonight?
It's got to be Jason Tatum in keeping their turnovers down. Tatum has struggled from the floor shooting 30%, but he's 7 for 14 from 3, but just 4 for 22 on 2-point shots. And when you have a talent like Tatum struggling, you've got to ask the question, why? Ime Udoka thinks he's trying to hunt fouls too much. When I watch his 2-point shots, what I see is playing in a little too much traffic and not jumping with strength and conviction and decisiveness. And then the turnover issue, it's quite simple. It's hard to turn the ball over against the Golden State Warriors and win. 16 plus turnovers, they lose. Less than 16, they win.
Well, you can hear the crowd already. It's the first finals game in this building since 2010. Right now, let's go to PA announcer Eddie Palladino.
Good evening and welcome to Game 3 of the 2022 NBA Finals, presented by YouTube TV, featuring the Western Conference champion Golden State Warriors Eastern Conference champion, Boston Celtics!
The Warriors had a dominant third quarter in Game 2 after the Celtics had that historic fourth quarter in Game 1. The fight for a championship continues now with Game 3 as the presentation continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Playtime mode is the big league. Playtime mode is the big league. Playtime mode is the big league.
The NBA Finals are presented by YouTube TV, where you get more than cable for less than cable. YouTube TV, everything live TV should be. Try it free. And in part by Bullet Train, in theaters August 5th.
Playtime over this tip-off.
Welcome back to the NBA Finals, presented by YouTube TV. Here in Boston, Massachusetts, where these finals have returned, the TD Garden is packed, and they are loud already. Right now, for the first time tonight, let's check in with Lisa Salters. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Mike. Well, one of the items on the Celtics scouting report for this Game 3 was definitely how to deal with Draymond. Both teams recognized that Draymond Green's increased physicality in Game 2 and his desire to seemingly get in everyone's face did have an impact. Green said he could tell that he was getting under the Celtics' skin by their body language, and he said even though he realized he may have been on the brink of an ejection, he believed his aggressiveness was what the Warriors needed to win. I asked Jaylen Brown how annoying Green was in Game 2, and he said on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 12. And though Boston players believe Green may have gotten away with a lot on Sunday, Brown said they're not going to complain about it, but they are prepared to respond. He raised his intensity level, Brown said. Now we've got to raise ours. Mike?
All right, Lisa, he was soundly booed, as you would expect, in the starting lineups, which are delivered by Taco Bell, and the usual starting five for Steve Kerr and the Warriors. Meanwhile, for Boston, they are a hole as well, as Robert Williams is a question mark before every game, is back in the starting lineup, and apparently feeling pretty good after an extra day off with the change of venues. So here we go for Game 3. First finals game here at the TD Garden since June 13th, 2010. That's 12 years ago. The Celtics beat the Lakers to go up 3-2 in those finals. Format was 2-3-2 back in those days. Lakers went back and won Game 6 and 7 as Boston looking for their first championship since 2008.